I started writing down a list of everything that was bothering me about my life. Am I gonna complain and just, be upset about it without taking action?
I think that small changes lead to major improvements, and just doing those small steps every single day, and you look up one day and you realize you're a little bit closer to your goal.
Trey is a businessman, entrepreneur.
I want people to get excited about life.
He's here to teach, and we're here to learn.
Think outside of your daily struggle.
Bro, things happen. Do they happen to you or do they happen for you? It's your decision. It's your choice.
As long as you just keep pushing forward and progressing, you're ultimately going to get there.
Episode 1.
Let's go.
We
made it here,
Let's
bro.
go.
We made it. Let's go.
You guys, welcome to the Life Unlimited podcast, man. First ever episode. I'm excited, bro.
Yeah, same, man. We're here.
It's crazy because we're talking about day 1, but you and I know this is like day 812, 13, 14, who knows?
Yeah,
800 something.
Yeah.
We've been working together for over 2 years, bro. It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And brought us to this moment, man. Can hardly believe it. It's just awesome to be able to speak those things, and talk about them, all the things we're going to do. And then just as time goes on, you just keep putting in that effort, and then it becomes reality. We're here in this beautiful studio doing a podcast, man.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
100%, bro. So it's kind of interesting too, because I've been personally teasing Life Unlimited, the app. For the people that follow me, for people that don't, the original product, the original business, what we're actually launching in addition to this podcast is our self-help app, Life Unlimited. And bro, I've been teasing it for like 2 years. I announced it, we announced it, we've been building it. And now we're getting the podcast before the app, which is crazy. But I also think it's a beautiful thing because now we're going to be able to talk about everything that transpired in terms of creating this business, leading up to the launch, actually having the launch and being able to talk about it in real time. So, everyone's going to be able to kind of come on this journey with us, bro. So I think it's a perfect way that it's rolling out.
Yeah, same, man.
Yeah.
This is almost like a documentary in the making,
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
we're still out here building this, every single day, putting all the effort and stuff. And we're far from finished and far from where we want to be, but man, this is this step right here. It's a huge step for us, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
100%, brother. So we're going to get into a little bit of intros. So, a lot of people do know me, but a lot of people don't. So we're going to get into it. I can go first. And, man, it's been a crazy journey. And I've told this story so many times. So the people that do know me, I apologize because, bro, it gets redundant. But it is what it is. It's still my story. So I've been in social media for 10 years, 9 years actually. Brandon, how many times have you heard me tell this story, bro?
I don't get tired of it, man, honestly. Yeah, through all the podcasts,
you can tell it for me, bro.
Yeah,
you can tell it for me. So 9 years ago, I had absolutely $0. Didn't know what I was doing with my life. I had my amazing wife, one son at the time, and we just kind of stumbled into social media where, actually at the time I was pursuing acting, and my wife kept saying, she's like, why don't you just go into YouTube? Why don't you film the behind the scenes of you pursuing this career? And, long story short, really summarizing, but as soon as I finally gave in, I realized there was no ceiling. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. I can really control my destiny. And Brandon, you and I are huge on that. We're the type of people, we're workaholics. We like to put in every single fiber of our energy every day. So with YouTube, I had that outlet where it's like, no matter what, I can control this. I can put out 1,000 videos, 2,000 videos. I don't care how long it takes. Something's going to hit. So, to paraphrase, to really summarize the whole story, eventually things started clicking, and then I left kind of the acting behind. And in full circle moment, when I started doing it full time, it's like I'm acting in my own videos anyways. So fast forward 9 years, I've got 2 more kids now, a whole lot more views. We, very blessed to have over 7 billion views on YouTube. And, it's beautiful. We're still going hard. We're still doing it every day. But, Brandon, one of the reasons you and I came together as business partners, and it's one of the first things I told you when we started really realizing we're going to work together, was that I want to transition into the things that I'm passionate about on a personal level and create my own legacy. Yes, I've done that with YouTube. But, it's like the analogy I always use is like if I was in the NBA, or the metaphor, if I was in the NBA or I was in, professional baseball player, fighter, whatever, am I going to wait until my career is over to figure out what I do next? Or probably a better approach is while things are popping, while things are going good, let me set up, some things for my legacy, for my family tree, and things that really matter to me that I can build that will last forever. So that's kind of what brought us together, bro. You know what I mean? We met, 3 years ago?
Yeah, roughly
I think 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Art Basel.
Yeah.
Art Basel, yeah. I was at an event. We had a mutual friend, and we just connected. We probably didn't actually like link up until probably a few months after that.
Yep.
We went for lunch, and we just realized that we have a lot of synergy with the way we think, our morals, just kind of our goals in life. And from there, I was in the process of conceptualizing, what do I do next, right? I didn't know at that time. We had all these ideas. At first, it was actually going to be a fitness app.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always been into fitness, and at that point, I was getting really dialed in. That's when I really started taking fitness serious about 3.5 years ago. And I came to you at that point, and I was like, Brandon, why don't we do a fitness app? And so that's what we started planning. Fast forward a whole bunch more, I realized that I have to do what I'm going to want to do for the rest of my life, and it won't feel like work. The cliche, you know what I'm saying? The cliche things that everyone always say, they happen to be true. So I realized for me, it was personal development. And, it's something I talk about all the time. But really, out of everything that I could possibly do as a business, I realized that personal development was that thing for me. I want to help other people kind of find that light in terms of what changed my life for the better. And after, going back and forth with you forever, we finally kind of put all the thoughts together, the, accumulation of brainstorm sessions, whiteboard sessions, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. We kind of got all the features conceptualized, and we built Life Unlimited. So our app is going to be coming out very soon, guys, the next few months. And now in this podcast, we're going to be able to talk about a lot of those things and kind of get into a lot of the nitty-gritty of how we did it, what's to come, a lot of these important conversations about, what embodies personal development, growth, happiness, success, business, entrepreneurship. And I'm talking forever. So let's hear Brandon a little bit, bro, get into it, because I'm sure I'm missing tons of stuff. I know you have an incredible backstory. But that's kind of, in my mind, that's how things got to where we're at now.
Yeah, no, man, you said it all. And the beauty of it is that in focusing on personal development, obviously, we're able to pass on some of the information that we've been able to experience ourselves onto other people and try to expedite that process for them as well, too. It was something that I know when I was up and coming, that was something that obviously would have helped me in my journey, or at least get to where I wanted to a little quicker. Although I appreciate the experience, and obviously it got me to where I am today, sitting here at the table with Mr. Trey Rush. But, it definitely would have helped me through my toughest times, I would say. Personally, for me, my background, I've been an athlete my whole life. I played college baseball, all the way through my whole career. Finished up and was presented with the question of what am I going to do from here, right? And so, I got my first corporate job, and about 2 to 3 months in, I knew this was not it for me. I knew that I don't know what it was. I didn't really think that entrepreneurship was a possibility, and it got a connection. And from there, had a really intense, profound, meditative moment with myself to understand, I think, a little bit more about what I wanted from life. And then after that, the rest was history. I quit my job, went all in into entrepreneurship. And then from there, was able to build a portfolio. I got to work with some great businesses, great people, great companies. One of the more notable ones was a Mark Cuban company. So I got to experience a lot of high-level, high-performing entrepreneurs, and just continue to grow and develop and kind of, just build myself as time went on. Now I've been an entrepreneur, I'd say, for about 8 years now, a little over 8 years. And it's hard. It's been a tough journey, as you know how entrepreneurship is, but obviously the victories and not just the victories, but then also the struggles and the moments leading up to the victory really help you enjoy that victory so much more. But yeah, it's been great. And man, I'm just excited to do this. I'm just happy to be here. And man, I want to transition a little bit more into, you got to talk about the purpose and the vision of the podcast, and you got into a little bit about what listeners are going to expect from this. But I guess I just wanted to ask you, what is it for you that was your defining moment, or maybe your transformational moments where you thought, man, I'm not where I want to be right now. I know this isn't it for me, and I got to do something different, you know? And what was it that led you onto the trajectory for the rest of your life and where you are today? Yeah,
bro, that's the most important question. I love that you want to talk about that, because that's actually a problem. The fact that this is not often addressed, and people are really usually showcasing the end result, or that's all they're portraying on social media, which is fine. If people don't want to talk about, their hard times or what led up to it, that's up to them. But I think that there's a major kind of knowledge gap where people only see that end product. And I'm always, very happy to be very transparent about my process, right? Because leading up to starting to be successful and have traction on social media and leading into these other businesses, I'm very, open with the fact that before that, bro, it was years and years and years of struggle. Like my life was anything, furthest thing from happiness, furthest thing from fulfillment. I dealt with a lot of anxiety, depression, confidence issues, and I talk about this all the time. And I like to let people know about it because it's important. So much people, and I would say probably majority of the people listening are dealing with one of those things or other things, right? And what, to get back to your question in terms of what kind of made that, when did I have that revelation? When did I have that epiphany? Bro, it was an accumulation of unfavorable events transpiring over and over and over until I realized, why do I keep, having shortcomings? Why do I keep failing at business? Why do I keep getting into jobs I don't like? Why do I keep coming home at the end of the day and just not being happy with where I'm at, not being able to find any fulfillment? And I realized it wasn't the circumstances, it wasn't the jobs I was in, it wasn't the different experiences. There was an issue with myself. So it took a while, and I don't know if there was a definitive moment, but I think over time I just started to realize I'm going to continue on this path, and the same cycle is going to keep repeating. I'm going to keep trying to get a better job, try to get something different in life, and keep having unfavorable results if I don't work on me.
Yeah.
So I kind of had that epiphany, and that is really what put me on this trajectory. From there, I became obsessed. And I'll be honest, I've been knowing from time, like way before this, that I knew I always had an obsessive personality, right? It's just how I am. I used to be obsessed with sports. I'll get, anything I get into it full out, right? So basically, when I became obsessed now with personal development, I just fully went down the rabbit hole. So I started like reading every book I could on personal development. I started looking up all the different tactics and different methods that people would use that have gotten somewhere that I aspired to be in their position. I would study what worked for them and implement it in my life. And not everything would work, not everything would click, but I would kind of find the key things that would click for me and then try to turn those into habits. So anything from meditation to affirmations to, self-talk and just how I talk with myself and being, monitoring that, to the information I would consume, turning off the news and putting on something positive, the circle that I was around, like who I'm hanging out with and how they influence me. All these little things that I started to really put a focus on and emphasize when I created these habits of, changing that energy into positive things, bro, that's when my life really changed. And I guess what I'm trying to say is all of this, what it really meant is that I was building up the individual. I was building up Trey, the individual that could actually go out into the world and accomplish something that I'm proud of. And at that point, I think it could have been anything. It could have been acting. It could have been YouTube. Well, it ended up being YouTube. But it could have been, a corporate job even still if that was what I wanted. It could have been anything, relationships. My relationships got better. It was really building that foundation. And, that's my underlying message to people, to my fans and to everyone that we're trying to reach. And the reason we built Life Unlimited is that I want to show people that you can change your life. You can change your circumstances. You can change everything you don't like about your life. But that process has to start within. And the internal work is where you start.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and it's a great thing when you set out things that you can do every single day to get yourself a little bit closer to where you want to be. I mean, that's it right there. That's something that's going to allow you to see progress every single day in your life. So it's great that you were able to go ahead and identify those things that you had to do and implement that into your lifestyle. So then that way they became those habits. Yeah. Little by little, you continue to do the things that are going to get you to where you want to be, whether it's in your mindset and dealing with the complications that you have day to day when you're shooting, anything else like that, and just even down to shooting itself. That's a complicated thing to even consider, and you do it every day. You know what I mean? That's so waking up and grinding like that every day, getting you closer to your goal. I think that's huge. For me personally, it was purpose. I think that when I was presented with the question of trying to figure out what am I going to do from here, I was trying to think and, I try to connect into something a little bit higher than myself. And, I would say I started looking at people and started like the people that were really successful, people that really made impact, religious figures, big tech founders, things like that. and try to find a correlation between them all. And for me, I felt like they were people that were living in their purpose, figured out what their purpose was. And when you figure out your purpose, that's where you come back. At least for me, that's where I became obsessed. And I'm like, man, like I know what I'm meant to do here, and I'm going to do everything I can to get there. And then that's what led me down to personal development, figuring out, okay, well, now I need to get my mindset right. I need to make sure that I can organize and schedule myself appropriately, and I can develop the skills and habits that I need to ultimately get to where I want to be in my industry, in my career. So for me, it was definitely purpose as a big one. So was there something that stood out to you maybe, or something maybe that you could recall specifically? Because you said a lot of different things, meditation, affirmations, incredible things that you were putting into your life. Was there one in particular that you felt like was transformational for you, that, the little steps that you took every day, that one habit that maybe you felt the biggest impact from?
I don't think it was one more than the other. If I had to choose, I would say meditations, just meditating in general. That quiet time where you're just there in your own thoughts. At first, it's scary, bro. Like, I don't care what anyone says. When you've never meditated and then you get into it and you really just go cold turkey and try it, bro, it's scary because you're there with your own thoughts. You're there with all your insecurities, your doubts, the memories that you're trying to forget, all that kind of trauma or all that whatever that you're trying to work through. It's right there and there's no distractions. There's no noise. So at first it's scary, but when you get comfortable with that, man, like to me, that's the strongest way to manifest is through meditation. And I've told this a few times. We were on Sway, and this was one of like my favorite moments when we were on Sway, when they asked me, how do I meditate? And I talked about like what I call the mini movie process. And it sounds funny, but that's the way I can convey it to people so they understand. What I'll do is I'll play like a mini movie in my head, in my imagination, where I'm visualizing exactly how I want my life to turn out, down to every detail. And I'll do this so often in my meditations that that's become more real to me than reality. And then what happens is, your subconscious believes it. And so therefore, the energy that you're putting out, the universe, it works in attraction, right? The law of attraction. Everyone knows about law of attraction now. It's not a taboo thing anymore. So now you're vibrating in this frequency where in your mind and your subconscious, in your reality, you're already where you want to be. You feel those emotions every day in your meditations. And then the events in the real world start to coincide with that. They start to match with that energy, and circumstances start to align. You start to see opportunities. You start to build the confidence. You become that person. So I would say if I had to choose one, it's meditations. But really, man, I was obsessed with every single tactic that I knew clicked for me, right? So affirmations, I would literally have these cards, bro. I would write down an affirmation, one that was important to me. I would write it on a little piece of paper. I would take some tape and just wrap the tape around it. I would laminate it myself. Bro, I'm a nerd. I would have it in my wallet. I would have them in my cards. They would be little cards. So I'd have them in my wallet like a credit card.
Yeah.
I would have them at my office. I was working a desk job at the time. I would have them there. I would have them at my bedside. So every moment I'm just seeing these positive affirmations. I was reading all the time. And bro, people ask me all the time. I'd say the number one question I get asked when people ask me, how did I get to where I'm at? My main response is you have to be obsessed with it. And we've both mentioned that words a few times already. I'm not saying you have to go out there and become a totally different person overnight, right? It's a process. It's gradual. You don't want to overdo it to the point where it's you hate it so much that, you just quit after a day or after a week. Similar like the gym. You do too much on day one, you're not going to go back. You're going to be too sore. You can be nah, this isn't for me. So yeah, it's a gradual approach, but obsession is so key. It's we are so inclined to fill our lives with distractions. You know what I mean? All these things that are numbing the pain and taking our focus away from the things that we don't like. My opinion is better we just deal with them head on. Whatever it is, what's bothering you, write it down, figure it out. And then, okay, I'd rather go through that, and it's going to suck in the moment, but I'd rather go through that to get to a better tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or I'm going to keep doing the same thing every day. To me, that never made sense. I was always about putting in raw action and taking steps towards, where I want to go. I just didn't know how to do it until I stumbled across personal development. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, man, it's a powerful thing. And I really think that with this podcast, with this app, I know we're going to be in a position to change a lot of people's lives. And the beautiful thing is, bro, is that it's across the board. You don't have to have a particular goal for it to be relevant to you. You don't have to want to be rich. You don't have to want to be an entrepreneur. You don't want to have to be in shape and be athletic or whatever your goal is. Even if you just want to have a better relationship with your significant other, you want to find more happiness, you want to overcome depression. Simple things, well, not really simple, but all these kind of key things, it's relevant to everyone. So I feel like we can touch the whole world in a sense. Like, you know what I mean? Our business plan and what we're trying to do, our mission, it's relevant to everybody.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And it's interesting. You say it's like, yeah, it seems simple, right? You identify just one thing, change your mindset, for an example. Like, oh, I'm just going to change my mindset. But the profound, the extensive and deep, I guess, considerations that go into that from your prior history, your traumas, your experiences, and trying to look forward. And just everything that goes into changing your mindset, the habits as well that go into being more positive than negative and so forth. It is complexity and simplicity. But yeah, I also agree with what you were saying, where I think that small changes lead to major improvements. And, just doing those small steps every single day, and you look up one day and you realize you're a little bit closer to your goal. I know, like, for me as well, writing things down was a really big part of what was allowing me to stay organized and on track towards my goal too. So I just kind of like brain dump a big list of things onto a piece of paper, and I know, like, that way it's out of my head, it's on the paper, and I could clear my mind up for things moving forward. But
I like that, bro. Brain dump. I never heard that.
Yeah, man. yeah.
I'm gonna use that term. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of writing things down, I think even like journaling and reflections are also a big part of that too, because in manifestation, you think about the future a lot, but also you got to reflect on your past and understand what got you to where you are now. So then that way you don't repeat history and ultimately lead yourself to where you are, where you want to change, Was reflection or was journaling something that you did as well too a lot?
Yeah, like I never really journaled. Who knows? Maybe I'll try it one day. But what I would do is definitely write down the things that bothered me. So I was stressed out a lot, right? Before I had, any financial stability, before I was doing anything that gave me any sense of happiness or fulfillment in terms of career, before I was happy with, physically, like my body and how I looked, I wasn't in shape. All the things that were bothering me, I got to a point where I'm like, I have to address these. You know that feeling when it's just heavy on you? And like I said, you're getting caught up in other things to kind of take your focus away from it, whether it be alcohol, TV, going out with friends, getting drunk, like whatever. I was doing all those things. But I realized, like, if I never deal with all of this, I'm gonna have that heavy, stressed out, unhappy feeling forever. And I don't like this feeling.
Yep.
So what can I do about it? So to answer your question, I started writing down a list of everything that was bothering me about my life. Now it's there, it's in front of you. It's like, all right, I've identified it. There's no hiding it. There's no going around it. It's here in front of me. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to complain and just, be upset about it without taking action? Or am I going to, in my case, be a man, or to the women watching, be a woman and go through it? What can you actually do? What actionable steps can you make to make that change? So I think that self-awareness is key, bro. Like self-awareness, self-accountability. That's the thing, bro. It's like, it's kind of harsh to say, but the honest truth is that in this life, no one's coming to save you.
Yep. Very
No,
true.
no matter who, like, everyone's circumstances are different. People are born into money. People are born without money. All these different circumstances can be different, yes. But at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you no matter who you are. Because you could be born with all the money in the world and be miserable. Or you could be born in, a third world country with absolutely nothing, be the most optimistic person, and somehow you're happier than someone with billions of dollars. We all know these stories.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, no one is coming to save you. And like once you really adopt that philosophy and you realize that you have to take control, there are methods. Everything is available. There are methods out there to change your life. Like there's no excuses anymore. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I can relate to people that haven't started yet because that was me. So I get it when it's overwhelming, it's scary, people just don't know where to start. But again, that's circling back to why we're doing what we're doing. We're putting something out there, from this podcast to our actual app that's dropping. We're putting something out there that is a tool where it's right in front of you. This is going to help you change your life. We have the resources, we have the tools, we have the proven methods. It's super affordable. Here, go change your life, right? So I say that to say, there's no excuses anymore. The internet's available. We can access all the information that we could possibly even fathom. We can't even comprehend how much information is on the internet. The power is, and the choice is yours. Yeah. Everyone, as long as you have access to information, it's on you. So I think too, what I'm getting at is that I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. I had to stop feeling like the world was against me. I had to stop feeling like I'm a victim of my circumstances or, a product of my environment, whatever. I have the control. And that epiphany put me on the trajectory to change everything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I love about entrepreneurship so much. I feel like a lot of the struggles and frustration that I felt in my life was something that I guess I was able to justify blaming others. Really, at the end of the day, it comes out on you. But, like let's say you got a coach and, he doesn't want to play you that game or something like that. Like, dang, I can't really play right now. My coach is in control of, whether I get playing time or anything else like that. But entrepreneurship is beautiful in that way because you could put your destiny in your own hands and then just show up every day and do the work, But I want to come back to something that you touched on earlier, and it was not necessarily chasing the money or the riches, the success, anything else like that. But it was being connected with your values and your purpose and doing things that you love and surrounding yourself with the things and the people that align with yourself, right? So do you feel like Life Unlimited through the podcast, through the business, everything else like that, do you feel like this is something that you feel the most connected to that you've done so far?
100%. Life Unlimited is, when I call it my baby or, my purpose, I mean that with all my heart. This is what changed my life. It's going to change countless lives. I know it. I feel it in my soul. The same way I was confident about starting YouTube and I knew I was going to be our family was going to be crazy successful on YouTube. I have the exact same feeling with Life Unlimited. I know it's going to be massive. We're going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, personal development apps in the world. But my goal in doing that, our goal, because we've talked about this many times, the main purpose for us is to positively impact as many people's lives as we can, right?
Yep.
So that's really our underlying goal. Now, in that process, are we going to get, a huge accumulation of resources? Absolutely. But then what can we go and do with that money now? We can go and help more people. So I think, I'm very blessed. We're both blessed to, have found a business and something to do with our lives where not only does it give us personal fulfillment, but it has impact on the world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
That's why I love doing this so much. And that's why it's been such a pleasure to work with you and your team. I mean, everybody, everything you do from Kelvin, I mean, man, everybody is just so aligned and I feel like everybody just wants to help other people. And I think that comes through in the detail that was paid attention to in this application to really help people take progressive steps in whatever industry. Mm-hmm. It's like what you said, right? We just want to help as many people as possible. And we were talking about this the other day, but it wasn't necessarily that we had a target industry or anything else like that. Mm-hmm. We don't really have a set target market. We just want to help humans. We want to help other people. And that in itself is its own target market. Yeah. And I feel like with that kind of approach, you can't really go wrong. If you help one person, it'd be incredible. If you could help 1 million, it'd be even better. Don't get me wrong, but
what about 1 billion?
Well, that's what the goal is. Yeah. That's what the goals, right? Yeah, those are definitely the goals. But it really does come down to helping others and feeling like we could position others better than maybe what we were positioned in at a time where we were at a crossroads trying to figure out what was going on in our lives. And yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. And I guess like from that also, I maybe want to touch on a little bit. You mind giving like a little bit of an overview and maybe some of the ways that the application or just like our core values in the business kind of aligns and helps other people?
Absolutely. I think, bro, like the best way to explain what we're going to be doing with Life Unlimited is we're accelerating the process of personal development or of overcoming something that you're dealing with. So whatever your goal is, I went over the different types of goals that people will be coming to us for, anything from overcoming something you're dealing with to you want to be super successful in business, you want to get your relationships better, anything that you want to improve in your life or overcome. Given that our research and our development of our application is based on an accumulation of all the different tactics that have proven to work bro, like we studied so much. It's from my personal experience, your personal experience, but then countless case studies. So what I'm trying to say is that we have the knowledge of what works and what doesn't work. Why go through a 10-year process to figure out what works for you when you can have something that we created where everything is streamlined? You have all the proven tactics at your fingertips, so you don't have to go and do what I did and read 30, 40 books try 50 different personal development tactics to eventually find what clicks for you. We kind of went through that process for the people that are going to be using the app, and we streamlined that process. So I truly believe someone who starts with our application, they're going to be able to come in, whether they have their goal identified or not, they're going to be able to come in and get to their desired outcome, get to where they want in life 10 times faster than if they were to just go into, just research it on their own and try to randomly try different things that work. I truly believe our application is going to streamline that process for them to at least 10x.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get there 10 times faster.
Yeah. 100%. And I couldn't agree more. I really think that we have such a comprehensive and robust solution. I don't think there's ever been anything in the market like this. And I think that we really put all the pieces together that maybe different applications have, but we consolidate everything, all the good parts, all the stuff that we were able to experience into laying it down for everybody cut and dry. This is what you need to do, powered by AI, being able to help you out along the way, to really help people see those day-to-day steps moving forward in their lives. But yeah, I couldn't be any more excited to show everybody the application. Really proud of what we built. It's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be fun, man.
And we talk about this all the time, right? One thing that's crazy to me is that we've been working on this app, and countless other things. We have a lot of stuff in the pipeline, right? But our main focus has been Life Unlimited. We've been working on this app for over 2 years, all right? We have not launched the app yet. We're still pre-launch phase. The amount of 4 a.m. meetings, 5 a.m. meetings, 14-hour days, 16-hour days, literally sacrifice. We're both busy before we started doing business together. Yeah. The fact that we have sacrificed every moment of free time, I'm not including like the time I spend with my wife. I got to give her that. Otherwise, and you have your daughter, we got kids. I'm talking about our personal time, bro. Yep. We have sacrificed everything to build this. And I think, touching a little bit on the entrepreneur side of this episode is that, to build something worthwhile, to build something great, the sacrifice is going to be tremendous. And we've experienced it to the fullest and we haven't even launched yet. You know what I mean? So that's one thing, is that if you have big ambitions and you want to build something big, or you want to be, hyper successful, you got to be prepared to do what other people simply won't do. I think that at the end of the day is the number one thing that makes people different and makes them successful. While everyone else is checking out of their job and going to, get drunk, going to party, going to clubs or whatever. And I'm not knocking that stuff. I was in there. I was doing that. But I realized that's not for me. I want to build this. I want to build Life Unlimited. I said I want to be the biggest self-help app in the world. Are we going to do that by just, a few hours here and there? Nah. No, it's not happening.
It doesn't take that.
So we've both been sacrificing literally everything that, every moment that we possibly can to building this thing. And I know that's what's going to ultimately lead us to where we're going. We're building that foundation. But, one thing that I love is that, we fell in love with this process. We fell in love with this journey. I think, the energy that we have on these calls, you and me will come off a call. Guys, we will literally come off a call and be so fired up that our meeting will end and we'll talk for another hour, an hour and a half. We're just like, yo, this is crazy. This is happening. That's happening. And then we have all this energy and we're so in love with the process of the build and the sacrifice and everything that's going into this thing that we're doing. We're going to look back and miss these days. Yeah. I know it for sure. Absolutely. We're going to have this crazy success and change so many people's lives. And that's obviously what we're striving for. That's where we're trying to get to. But I know for certain we're going to miss these days. Building something, bro, building something from scratch and putting everything into it. Man, it literally gives me goosebumps, dog. There's nothing better to me.
Bro, we're going to keep growing it as well, too, even when we get to a certain point, when we hit that certain number in our head, right? Mm-hmm. We're just still going to keep growing and building it. And, new levels will bring different things, but nothing like grassroots, nothing like the ground floor right here. When you have nothing in front of you that's visually telling you that you're there, but you can only see it in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Those are the interesting times, because you got to lead on faith and, knowing and trusting yourself that what you're doing is going to get you to where you want to be.
Yo, you just said something that we have to touch on. Knowing it and believing it in your mind before anyone else sees it, before it's materialized even in your own life, but it's true. Man, this is so crucial. It takes me back to when we started YouTube. My wife and I started. Bro, people laughed at us. It was such a terrible experience at first, so uncomfortable, shy, no confidence, looking and sounding stupid. You know what I mean? Just like, and then no one's supporting it. But in our minds, we're like, no, we're going to be some of the biggest in the world. And it's the same thing that we're doing now. You know what I mean? So to anyone that's really wanting to do anything, you can't expect people to believe in you at the start. You have to believe in yourself more than anyone else. Be your own biggest fan. And it's like, the crazy thing is, once you get there, everyone comes back around.
Yep.
Everyone comes back around. You know what I mean? It's wild,
Absolutely.
bro. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, man.
And we don't do it for that. Like the people who come back and say, you know, I knew you were gonna make it, Trey. I knew. Can we partner up on this? Can you invest in this business with me? It's like, ha.
Right.
You weren't there when you weren't with me shooting in the gym. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, man, it's part of the process. So I just love that you said that. Like you have to believe in yourself when no one else will. I think that, you know, that belief in yourself, that's probably first and foremost. That's number one. It's like, and you know, for me, it was even unrealistic at times, you know? Like
Absolutely.
looking back at the odds that we overcame, at the things we've been able to do and where we're heading, it's like, dang, I really believed that was going to happen. Like we crazy. We're actually crazy to believe, but that's what it takes. What did they say? The people who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world, those are the people that end up changing the world.
The only way that you can do it is if you have that massive, unaccomplishable goal in your mind. If you feel like you could actually accomplish your goal, it's probably not big enough, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you're going to have a lot of people on your journey tell you that you can't do something. You're going to come into a lot of roadblocks, but you still have to believe in yourself no matter what. Obviously, we've experienced our roadblocks along the way and we haven't stopped and we're, you know, still moving forward. But, you know, it kind of goes back to what you were saying. You know, I feel like at the end of the day, the belief in yourself is the most important thing. And if you have that, no one can tell you anything. And as long as you have the tools and you keep on trying to better yourself every single day, you're ultimately going to get there. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to see it. I bet you're pretty excited once like you come, now you see those things manifest into your real life. And now it's like, oh, okay, man, maybe I'm not so crazy after all. But then you set another crazy, unrealistic goal.
I think it's the opposite. I realize I'm even more crazy than I thought I was, but I love this shit. Like I embrace it fully, bro. You know, I'm always, you know, very mindful of not trying to put people down that want to live a quote unquote regular life, right? Not everyone can be like me or like you. Everyone's different. And, you know, if the people who want to have a type of life that they're comfortable, they get to have whatever, you know, the certain securities that are in place for them where they don't have to push themselves outside of their comfort zone. By all means, that's happiness to some people. And if that's for you, and I support it. But there are some crazy people out there with the crazy ideas that, you know, really kind of, as we said, change the world. And without these crazy people, we wouldn't have the type of technological advances. We wouldn't have, you know, important world leaders that step up and are able to create massive change in a positive way. You know, it's really like few and far between the crazy people who are perceived as crazy. And as you said, once they do what they said they were going to do, everyone's like, oh, they really were onto something. You know what I mean? But, you know, I've definitely embraced my craziness. Yeah, my family knows I'm crazy as hell. But I love it, bro. I thrive in that. You know what I mean? I thrive in that. I don't want to be normal. And I'm okay with people thinking I'm crazy. Like, that's kind of what, at my core, that's where I'm the happiest, is when I can be fully functioning in my crazy ideas, my crazy work ethic, you know, and just making it come to fruition, bro. I love it.
Well, and the beauty of it is that, well, I don't want to say we're not special, right? It's not that we're normal like everybody else. I think that everybody's actually special. I think everybody has that ability to go and find what it is that they want to do and find their purpose and be able to accomplish it. The difference are just the people that actually go out and do it and are crazy enough to believe that they could do it. So we're all the same. We're all on equal playing ground. But as long as you have that factor in your life that you know that it's undeniable and you can do anything you want to do with the right track, with the right path, you're going to do it. You're going to get there eventually. But we're two guys. We're two humans. We're just here, you know, doing, you know, what we want to do. And for anybody listening out there that feels like it just takes this special kind of unique personality, it's actually opposite to that. You just got to put in the work. And going back to what you said about the work ethic is, you know, not only do we believe in ourselves and not only are we crazy, but there's nobody else that is on my time zone that I know I can call at 4:00 in the morning and know for a fact I'm going to get a response right away. Maybe not right away because Trey over here is probably going to be doing push-ups with his black coffee at 4 a.m. He's going to be on push-up 500.
Guaranteed. Yeah,
No, yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Let's change that. Like guaranteed. I know Trey's doing his push-ups. I know he'll hit me up in between sets, but I say that to say that, and then also tying it back into the sacrifices, it's, if let's say if you're sacrificing time and talking about it in that respect, you got to make more time. And maybe that's sacrificing sleep. Maybe that is waking up at 4 a.m. Maybe you have that 9 to 5. Then you have the family afterwards, and you feel like you don't have a lot of time to do what you need to do to get to where you want to be. But you need to find a way to make that time for yourself and for your goals. I feel like, maybe it's not getting up at 4 a.m. every morning. Maybe you start off doing it. Maybe it's 1 day a week. Maybe it's then turn it up to 3 days a week. Then ultimately you see yourself doing this 7 days a week. Now you're seeing yourself every 4 a.m. And those are those progressive steps and those day-to-day habits that you could take in that ultimately change your character, change who you want to be, and then get you to where to your final destination, like what you have in your mind. So,
I love that.
It's a lot, man.
Bro, I love that. The little improvements, the little habits turn into big things, right? And it can be, you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. You can stop watching news that makes you feel negative. You realize every time you put on the news for an hour at the end of the day, you get this negative, cloud coming over you. Something like that, little thing, cut it out, see how you feel. Like, do you feel better? All right, so let's make that part of the new protocol. What else can I change? All these little things start to add up. But you mentioned something that we have to go deeper into, bro. It's, you said that we're all, I don't know exactly what you said, but you mentioned that we all have this unlimited ability within us. At the start of the episode, you asked me about, what were my favorite things or in terms of different tactics, and I talked about affirmations. Bro, where Life Unlimited came from was actually my favorite affirmation, which is I am unlimited. And it's something that I still repeat to myself all the time. The reason I want to touch on this right now is because, we're talking about how we're crazy. I was, talking nonstop about how crazy I am, and it's true. But I want to make it very clear, I'm not better than anyone. You're not better than anyone. We're not born with these special abilities. We just simply tapped into the same unlimited abundance and ability that's within all of us. Yep. So I love that you mentioned that. This is something that I believe with all of my heart. Every single human being, I don't care what you look like, religion, where you're born, skin color, how tall you are, your body size, it does not matter in any way, shape, or form. We all have this unlimited potential within us to be great beyond our belief, great beyond your comprehension. We all have that within us. But the thing is, the people who are able to showcase it and, get to certain places where it looks like they're different is simply because they've tapped into the same energy that's within all of us. They tapped into it on a different level. So I think that's very important, and everyone needs to understand that. No one is better than you. No one is born more capable than you. It's simply that they put into work, or they had this realization that they have that within them. We all have it within us. Once you fully believe this, okay, you got to identify it, you got to accept it, and then you got to work yourself into believing that you can access it, use it, and all of these things. The people like, I'm not trying to say I'm where I want to be yet, but the people like myself who are, getting to where I want to be, like yourself, to like, the people we look at in the world as like, whatever, the top 1% in the world, whatever you want to call them, super successful, the top athletes, top business people, they figured it out. They figured out how to tap into this same unlimited power that's within everyone.
Yep.
And that's why we named the app Life Unlimited. You have one life. We all have one life. It goes really quick. It goes way too fast, but it can be beautiful. We can literally live an unlimited abundance lifestyle. We can have the most amazing life you could ever comprehend. Doesn't mean you have to have a whole bunch of money. If you don't care about money, that's fine. You can still live unlimited abundance while we're breathing. And I think that ultimate state that we're trying to help people get to is living inside of themselves, inside of their own skin, being happy. I think that happiness, that fulfillment, that's really the underlying goal, I think, for everyone. That's what it should be anyways. Yeah. And then the money follows. You know what I mean? 100%. Like, I think that's why we clicked so well together. And that's a whole nother conversation. We could talk for an hour about that, how you and I work, how we're so integrated. We have so much common, just our outlooks on life. But I think the main thing is really that, bro. It's really that. It's like we're comfortable in our own skin and we know what we want to do, and we're not focused on the money being at the forefront of our endeavors and of our, the point in everything we're doing. It's how can we create the most impact? How can we live in our purpose like you've been saying? And then funny enough, the money follows. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in my opinion anyways, that's how it is.
No, you got it. And I think that that's obviously, and that's how we're so aligned. And you're not going to see don't get me wrong, there's definitely special cases where people make $1 million overnight on their first night, whatever the case is, but it is a rare case. And you're not going to see the money up front. You're not going to see the tangible benefits of your successes, leading up to it. So if you go into this seeking that, you might get much more frustrated in the process, especially starting off, and you might find it difficult to flow into the day-to-day that you need to do to get to where you want to be. But if your purpose is greater than that, if your purpose is, much higher than what you think you could shoot for, whatever your goal may be, and you follow that with the pure intent of being able to live to your full potential and actually follow down that path and bettering yourself and bettering others, like you said, the money's going to ultimately follow. And, that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
100%. That's going to lead us into another episode because I love the topic of how money is still really such like a taboo subject and people associate it with so much negativity. They associate it with greed, with evil. But you and I both know, that resources are, they give you the ability to have impact and they are very important and we need to be able to talk about these things. But I think that can be a whole nother episode. What I'm so happy about, bro, is that I found the business partner in you where we can be crazy, bro, and you can come to me with the wildest ambition, the wildest goal, and I'll look you straight in the eyes and say, I believe you, I support you, let's make it happen, and you do the same for me. So I thank you for that, bro. Our journey, where we're heading is incredible. And this is a whole nother topic, right? I think this is another episode right here we're gonna have to get into in the future. Who you surround yourself and who you pick as your spouse, as your business partners, as your friends that you're around all the time, it's so crucial. I know I'm not stating the obvious here, but it's like, man, you can't expect to do it all alone. When I first had conceptualized Life Unlimited, bro, to now seeing what we've done over the 2 years, there's no way I could have done this without you. So it's super important to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who support you, that really, are able to see your vision. And even if they don't see it, still believe in you enough and be crazy enough to say, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I believe you. You know what I mean? So I'm very grateful to have you on this journey with me, bro. Man, I'm the type of person, I like to lead with action. So I don't even want to say we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But sky is really the limit for us. Like the funny thing is, bro, I actually had some people find this funny, dog, and I think it's kind of funny. We're literally manifesting that we're going to have the top manifestation app or the top self-help app, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, it's going to be a wild journey, man. Bro, episode 1. We touched on so much. I feel like we could talk for hours. Our phone combos, bro, like every single time we're like, that's a podcast episode. That's a podcast episode. So we could talk forever. But I feel like we touched on a lot of great points. I feel like we're going to be able to do something different with this podcast.
Yep.
And, there's so much great podcasts out there. I love watching podcasts. But I feel like this niche that we're talking about, I feel like we're going to be able to get into some stories and some experiences. We're going to have guests on here. We're going to have people who, are going to be able to share what you don't know about how they got there, right? I said this at the start of the podcast of this episode, and I'll say it again. It's so easy to see people on social media or see people winning online, and, that comparison trap is crazy, right? And I'm a victim of it. I try my best. I can honestly say I don't think I do it anymore. If not, when I catch myself, I'm like, no, stop instantly. It's not healthy. That comparison trap is so big. You only see people and you don't know what it took to get them there. What I'm getting at is that with this podcast, I think we can really break down how did you actually get there? The people who are in, favorable positions, people who are quote unquote winning in life, what did you do on a personal level? How did you build yourself up to be the individual that's capable of achieving that? Not just the story, what you went through, but what did you do to actually build yourself up? And that's what I'm most excited to talk about on an ongoing basis. Amongst other things, we're going to be getting into a whole lot of topics, but that to me is the most exciting. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, bro, but I'm excited, man.
Yeah, same. I mean, it is an introductory episode. We're just so happy to be able to bring Life Unlimited to the world. We're just so happy to be able to sit down and talk about these things that have impacted our lives so greatly, and hope that it could just impact yours a little bit. One thing I would say is, at the end of the day, as long as you could believe you could do something, you're going to be able to do it, and just don't lose that. And I want people out there to just think about, in reflection in this episode, what is one thing that you want to do, but you don't know how to do it, or you maybe don't think it's possible that you can do. And we'd love to be able to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. We'd love to be able to have you guys reach out to us and let us know, what's your goal? What do you feel like you can accomplish, or where's your head at? What's your purpose? And we'd love to be able to start building a community towards people, like what you were saying about surrounding yourselves with the right people in the right community. I mean, not to be cliche, but you are the top 5 people you surround yourself with. And we want to be an extension of that. We want to be an extension of a community to be able to help you get closer to where you want to be. So definitely let us know where your head is at, what your goals are. And Trey, you want to tell people where they can find us at?
Yeah, so we're going to put it on the screen as well, but I'm Trey Rush on Instagram, Life Unlimited on YouTube. We're going to put all the socials on there, and everything's going to be in the link below in the description. Like you said, Brandon, drop some comments about topics you want us to touch on, people you want to see on the show. We're going to get into our extended networks, and we're going to try to bring on as many people as we can that you guys will be interested in hearing from. And this is the start of something big, bro. Personally, bro, I'm the type of person I could talk forever. So to have an outlet where I can just get these thoughts out, bro, in a healthy way that hopefully is able to inspire some people. Hopefully, like you said, bro, if we can change a couple people's lives, great. If we can touch more than that and we can help people, just create any type of a better life, that's what we're here for, and we're happy to do it. So the funny thing is, when you help someone, you help yourself. Yep. And I think we both embody that fully. I do it all the time, man. I'll come off a conversation where someone's asking me for input or help with something, or just, need advice on something. I find those sessions end up being therapy for me. Yeah. So this could even be like something very healthy for us, our own little therapy sessions. And, if we can impact a few people along the way, man, even better.
I don't want to talk the crazy out of us. I want to stay crazy though. Let's
we staying crazy. That's for sure, bro. We definitely staying crazy.
But hey, man, Trey, just what a pleasure it is to be here and to start this experience and this journey with you, to keep it going, not even really just to start. Like you said, we've been moving on this for a little while now, but episode 1 in the books, brother.
Yes, sir. Let's get it, bro.